Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Libra January 2019 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off, as far as January goes, the Sun will be in Capricorn from the 1st until the 21st. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus and attention on home, family life, emotional security, people that you may feel close to home with, foundations, traditions, roots, ancestry, the end of life period, that latter part of life, and who you are at the core, and the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. Now, given this is Capricorn energy, this may be done with a lot of Capricorn discipline, structure, very methodical manner. If you're trying to dig into your roots and ancestry, this could be done very methodical, very systematic type manner, one step at a time. Done in a very orthodox, conventional manner. 4th house matters may also be done with a lot of regimented energy, but with a lot of prudence and caution. You may be doing a lot of planning and premeditation, and perhaps especially matters pertaining to your home and your family life at this time, and also perhaps in a very organized manner as well. So, but remember, keep in mind too that Capricorn energy can be a little bit negative and a little bit pessimistic. So don't try not to focus on the negative elements or aspects of your home, your family life, and really who you feel you may be at the core. Try to not let that energy get you down at this point or impact you. Anyway. Next thing up, as far as January goes, the Sun will be in Aquarius from the 21st until the 31st. So the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this point in time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on romance, superficial interludes, children, fun, amusement and enjoyment, even gambling and speculation perhaps, and also personal popularity even. Now, given that this is, and also perhaps creative endeavors as well, and hobbies at this time. Now, given this is Aquarius energy, this could be done with a lot of selfless energy, a lot of humanitarianism, and especially perhaps matters with children and lovers at this time. But also could be done with a lot of unorthodox and unconventional manner as well, with a lot of consideration, but yet somewhat unpredictable, but very erratic and sporadic energy. There may be it may be done with a lot of ingenious energy, innovative energy. You might find be focusing on a lot of perhaps innovative, ingenious ways, perhaps to have some fun, amusement, joy. Might even be trying to creating things. Might even be inventing things, perhaps. Now, also, this could be done with a lot of future-oriented energy and very friendly, amicable energy as well. Anyway, next thing up, there will be a new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn on January 5th. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, first off, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, well, I mean, a solar eclipse is like a new moon, but only it could be more amplified and intense, and its impact could be more powerful, more prodigious. It could be it could also have a more sustained effect, and also really could be very life-altering, perhaps. So it's, anyway. Well, at this time, you may begin perhaps a very consistent and regimented, perhaps planning for that preparation, that latter part or that end of life period. You might be at a time where you're beginning to formulate a plan that you may have as far as that goes at this time. And really, and it could be something that could really have a obviously this could be very strong impact on you if you start doing this planning around at this time. And also too, this could be a time too where you might begin even a business from your home, perhaps, or maybe or something connected with your family or someone you're close to home with. Now, and this could be something that could have very strong, really strong effect and could be life altering, because this could be something that you might sustain for a very protracted period. Now also, I mean, when you're talking about eclipses in astrology, it could be about what things that we could become cognizant of. And this could be a time where you become maybe more cognizant who you are at the core, somebody that it might be more responsible than you've given yourself credit for in using this toward perhaps positive things in your life, and also maybe even more business savvy and having more business acumen perhaps than you give yourself credit for, maybe even more organization ability. And by doing so, well, this could have very strong perhaps effects for you later on by becoming cognizant of this. Now also too, that this could also be maybe a connection with a Capricorn you may be close to home with that might have a life-altering impact. This could be somebody that may have a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply one that might embody Capricorn-like characteristics. And also, when you're talking about eclipses, they could be about the departure of a person that may have been prominent in your life, and you're talking about as far as the solar eclipse go, and often this could be a dominant male person in your life, and it might have been somebody that may have been affecting your emotional security that may be departing at this time, or was having some kind of very limiting, restricting, inhibiting effect on it. And it could be somebody that may be leaving, or somebody that was overly authoritative or bossy even that might be departing, and it could be free you up perhaps to be able to start some things maybe without that person around. So I mean, so anyway, well, next thing up, there will be a full moon lunar eclipse in Leo on January 21st. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. And again, the eclipse, I mean, a lunar eclipse can be like a regular full moon, only it could be more amplified, more intense in its effect, in its impact. It could be something more prodigious and have more of a sustained effect, and something that could have life-altering impact and implications. So anyway, well, one way this may manifest, this could be the completion or culmination of a Leo-like goal or aspiration. It could have been something that you may that might have gone on for a very protracted period, and you finally reach the end point of it. It could be something connected with something of a creative endeavor, some work with children. It could be psychocardiology work, something with sports, anything that might where you may have been getting some kind of recognition for. And this could be perhaps the end of this might free you up to do something else. In some cases, this could be the culmination of a Leo friendship. It could be somebody that may be a Leo sun, moon, or ascendant, or someone that simply embodies Leo-like characteristics. It could have been somebody that you knew for a very long time that comes to a dramatic Leo-like conclusion at this time. And also, too, again, this could manifest perhaps in really, and again, becoming cognizant of things. It could be about becoming, for example, being cognizant and aware of maybe being more, that perhaps being even more gregarious and extroverted and outgoing could lead to maybe more friendships at this time and acquaintances, and even maybe have a very strong impact on your future strongly, which may be very life-altering, of course. This could also be, again, about a departure, and this could be about maybe a Leo person, or it could be a very just overly domineering person that might have been negatively impacting maybe it could have been your life with your friends, with your acquaintances, even group involvement, or maybe even your future to some degree might make a departure. It might have been somebody that was just really dominating, somebody that was monopolizing your time, and that has taken off and is left at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up, Mercury will be in Sagittarius as far as January goes, from the 1st until the 5th. So the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, you might simply be more voluble and loquacious than usual, given we're talking about Mercury and the third house, talking a lot about maybe manifold philosophies. It could be in doing so in sports-related matters, the law, and it could be with neighbors, cousins, siblings, people that may have been prominent in your early education, perhaps. Also, this could be about, again, Mercury could be more than just be about communication. It could also be about siblings. This could be about perhaps Sagittarius siblings. They could be Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Sagittarius characteristics, may figure strongly in your communications, assimilating information, short journeys at this time. It could be matters with your transportation, with your vehicles, perhaps at this time, or a vehicle. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. Anyway, well, this could also be about perhaps, again, talking about manifold and variety of philosophies. You might speak with a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm about things that you may have learned from your education, and also talking about expanding your horizons and talking about just Sagittarius related subjects in general, and really and maybe just talking about just expanding just the way really your horizons at this time, and even and really just being again, just being very philosophical at this time in communicating with third house people regarding these matters, but at the same time you might speak in a very blunt, sometimes maybe even tactless manner, and with that veritable Sagittarius truth. Could be to the point of demoralizing third house people at this time. Again, people that might be your neighbors, might be prominent in your short journeys, cousins, siblings, might even be people that you know from your early education, perhaps. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Capricorn as far as January goes, from the 5th until the 24th. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this time, you might be doing a lot of planned and premeditative thinking regarding about that end or latter part of life at this time. There might be more introspective thinking in matters connected with your home and your family life. And also, too, there might be more, and maybe even who you are at the core. It might be communications, perhaps about Capricorn-related things such as government, business, politics, dentistry, perhaps with family members, people you're close at home with. Perhaps it could be even with the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. Now, also, again, that Mercury can also be about siblings. It could be about perhaps Capricorn siblings. They could be Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Capricorn-like characteristics, may figure very prominently in your home, your family life. It could be perhaps in your traditions, maybe getting in touch with your roots, your ancestry at this time, and maybe even helping you get in touch with who you really are at your core, perhaps. And also try to really be thinking, try not to be too despondent and melancholy regarding who perhaps you are at the core, or that latter or end part of your life, because Mercury, the Capricorn energy, can sometimes be rather pessimistic and negative. So try to avoid any negative thinking regarding fourth house matters, and just try to accentuate the positive with it if you can. More positive Capricorn energy, such as really being able to plan and premeditate well, and also consistency as well. So anyway, next thing up, Mercury will be in Aquarius as far as January goes, from the 24th until the 31st. So at this time, the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you might find yourself talking a lot about new ideas and concepts with children, with lovers, perhaps thinking futuristically about increasing your personal popularity, about more fun, amusement, and enjoyment in your life. And also, too, again, Mercury can also be, it's not just about communications, it could also be about siblings. This could be Aquarius siblings, could be Sun, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Aquarius-like characteristics. Could figure very prominently in your amusement, your enjoyment, your hobbies, your creative endeavors, perhaps, and even with your children, perhaps as well, if applicable. You might be talking about perhaps Aquarius-like hobbies at this time, such as model rockets, computers, electronics, astronomy, aerospace, perhaps. And at this time as well, and you might be thinking really more innovatively and expressing a lot of ingenious and ideas and really concepts with fifth house people at this point in time. And also too, you might be at this time talking about really thinking futuristically about maybe things of a speculative nature that you might do. It could be investments perhaps. So anyway, next thing up, Venus will be in Scorpio as far as January goes, from the 1st until the 7th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this could be about Scorpio relationships that can factor in strongly, as far as it could be Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply people that embody Scorpio-like characteristics. They might figure prominently in your income, for your finances, your self-worth, self-esteem, and possessions at this time. And a lot of it can depend on the aspects this makes, whether it's actually affects you positively or adversely. If it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Jupiter in your chart, you might not really have as much luck with these, as far as that is. As far as your your income, your possessions, it might not really be fortuitous for that. It might actually go in the opposite direction as far as your income goes, or your self-worth, self-esteem. Makes an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn. This could really be causing maybe these Scorpio relationships might actually be causing you to think maybe a little bit lower of yourself, and be causing you to feel somewhat despondent or melancholy, and thinking more negatively about how you feel, in terms of how you feel about yourself. So anyway, this could also be about valuing power, control, and secrecy in monetary matters at this time. This could be about very surreptitious, secretive spending at this time as well. And it could be, for basically in terms of your buying possessions for yourself. And also too, this could also manifest perhaps in the enjoyment of Scorpio like games perhaps with somebody that you might know well, that you generate income with. It could be doing something like just doing some with a Ouija board, or playing some mystery game like Clue, or doing something with astrology, the occult, supernatural, something that could be Scorpio-like enjoyment. Also too, at this time, avoid perhaps maybe trying to charm others in order to manipulate them financially. In some cases, it could manifest like this. And also, you might find yourself making money perhaps through Scorpio-like things at this time, since we're talking about Venus and the second house. It could be something like doing locksmith work, working as a coroner, doing something with astrology, the occult, supernatural, investigation, perhaps something connected with transformation, such as rebuilding vehicles or doing recycling. Next thing up, Venus will be in Sagittarius as far as January goes, from the 7th until the 31st. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, Libra, you might find yourself valuing very expansive, exuberant, and enthusiastic communications. This could be about the expression of the love of outdoors and exploration and adventure with siblings, with neighbors, with cousins. It could be at this time a Sagittarius love. It could be a Sagittarius sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Sagittarius-like characteristics, might figure prominently in your short journeys. Perhaps getting you in touch back with maybe your early education, your activities in your neighborhood, perhaps, and even transportation as well. You might find yourself at this time also perhaps spending money on Sagittarius related things with third house people. They could be matters connected, maybe getting some books connected with the law. It could be sports equipment, anything that could be Sagittarius related. It could be things that are associated with religion, even publishing. Things that are associated with publishing, and it might be perhaps doing so maybe with neighbors. It could be with a cousin, with a sibling, perhaps maybe someone you know that's prominent in your short journeys. You might also be valuing religion, philosophy, the law of publishing with people from your early education at this time. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. Next thing up. Mars will be in Aries, so the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you might find yourself putting a lot of energy and vitality into combative competition. Perhaps it could be doing something like karate or judo or boxing or wrestling even. The situation perhaps with open adversaries, a grandmother even, significant other. It could even be legal opponents, might be more contentious and acrimonious than usual. This could be a time where you might be really more, this could be about manifest an easy provocation, perhaps from people that are in, 7th house people, such as a marriage partner, significant other, open enemies, legal opponents, a grandmother even. And also, this could be at this time, if unattached, you could be get involved perhaps with an Aries, sun, moon, or ascendant person, or one that embodies Aries-like characteristics, be involved sexually with one, and it could lead perhaps to this person being ultimately a significant other or marriage partner. And also, this can manifest perhaps in very acerbic and spontaneous, abrupt court or legal battles at this time, and also a lot of aggressive, assertive energy and activities with others in general at this time. So anyway, next thing up. Jupiter will be in Sagittarius still, so the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. And as I've talked about before, Jupiter can be rather paradoxical, can be very strongly benign and benevolent, but could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. At this time, this may very well enlarge and expand, perhaps foolhardy, self-righteous, over-optimistic, even reckless behavior in connection with siblings, with neighbors, with cousins, people that are prominent in your short journeys, perhaps people that you may know in your early education. At the same time, on the positive end, this could be very lucky, perhaps through perhaps traveling abroad, publishing. It could be religion with 3rd house people. It could be also too expanding jocular and jovial communications at this point in time, and also just as far as really as well, this could be about maybe doing something where you look at Jupiter and you're talking about Sagittarius in the 3rd house. This could also be about perhaps, Jupiter can be about a lot of hope, a lot of optimism, and really, and really just in general, in your communication, and really in just in matters with 3rd house people in general. It could expand perhaps that need for adventure, that exploration perhaps, with perhaps with your cousins, with your siblings, with your neighbors at this time, people from your early education perhaps. So, and also a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm perhaps in sports and outdoor activities with your neighbors at this time, and 3rd house people in general. Anyway, Next thing up, Saturn will be in Capricorn at this time, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, you might find yourself experiencing some restrictions and limitations, perhaps in your home, your family life, your emotional security. It might be in matters with the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. Maybe trying to get in touch with your roots and ancestry. There might be some delays, and you might feel that there's some kind of restriction or something that's inhibiting you from doing this for some reason. And at the same time, you might find yourself taking care of a debilitated or sickly family member or someone you're close to home with. It could be something that at this time, it could be something that could be connected with the knees, the bones, or the joints, and maybe making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy. Also, too, this could be about a time where you have about responsibilities to your fourth house matters. It could even be toward the end or the latter part of life. Now, it doesn't mean you're in that part necessarily, but the way this could manifest perhaps is actually making the preparations for that and doing the things and taking responsibility toward getting yourself ready for that point in time in your life. And older people at this time might figure more prominently perhaps in you getting in touch with your roots, your ancestry, and your traditions, and even foundations at this time as well. Next thing up, Uranus will be in Aries still, so the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, this could manifest, of course, in a multitude of ways. This could be about Aries friendships. They may be Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Aries-like characteristics that might figure more prominently, perhaps it might be just your relationships in general, and might be in court battles and legal matters, perhaps. This could also be maybe a competition as well. And also, you might be experiencing some unpredictable and acrimonious behavior from a significant other, a marriage partner. It might be an open enemy or adversary, a legal opponent, maybe a grandmother even. At this time, too, if you're unattached at this time, Libra, you might find yourself marrying a foreigner. It could be someone from another country. It could be an innovator, an astrologer, somebody that might be might work with computers or electronics, and your relationships in general might have a lot of fluctuation at this time, might be very erratic and sporadic. So anyway, next thing up, Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, when you're talking about Neptune energy, it could be about a lot of dissipation and dissolving. This could be where you feel that your health might be doing so at this time, and health matters may be somewhat nebulous and unclear, and the same with fellow employees, or even an aunt or an uncle perhaps. And also too, be careful too at this time for perhaps even for drugs and alcohol, or even an accidental inadvertent chemical assimilation at this time, such as radon, that which might strongly impact your health, of course. And also too, chemical spills at work, especially let's say if it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Mars in your chart, because this could be where accidents can be more prevalent, because Mars is connected with accidents and Neptune is associated with chemicals. Now, people in your daily routine might be more nebulous and unclear than usual. There might be more confusion and chaos in your work life at this time. And also, too, on a positive end, you might find yourself doing something Neptune related as far as work and employment goes, such as the metaphysical, which could include astrology, could be chemistry, photography, poetry, dancing, perhaps there's some kind of work with the feet and toes. Also be careful at this time too, some health issues might be connected with the feet and toes, or even the lymphatic system at this time as well. And anyway, last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, Well, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. In some cases, this could be about the actual or literal death of a home or family member, someone you're close to home with. It could be the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. Sometimes this could be about the obliteration or destruction of certain traditions, perhaps at this time. It could actually be the home. In some cases, this could be about some disaster hitting the home, such as a tornado. In isolated cases, you might find yourself digging deep in terms of getting in touch with your roots, your ancestry, your traditions at this time. But also just be careful against perhaps obsessive or compulsive matters in home-related matters. It could be with a family member. It could be someone you're close to home with. It could be just at home activities in general. And remember that, this could also be about maybe certain foundations you might destroy at this time. But remember that Pluto can be about rebirth and regeneration. You might wind up reviving some of these things at a later point in time that you tear down. But it could also be about supplanting them with something else at this time as well. So, and also this could manifest perhaps in Pluto-like traditions, such as something connected with astrology, the occult, supernatural. It could even be going to some kind of place connected with horror, such as like a horror house or some haunted house, perhaps as well. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Libra January 2019 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be talking about the duality of Pisces. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.